Theresa May's trip to Brussels started badly. 3 members of her party walked out on her to join a group of former Labour MPs who quit their party on Monday.
We three have never been called your so-called typical Tory. Like everyone, we're tired of labels, we're tired of tribalism, and we're tired of British politics being dominated from its extremes. It's time for change, and we are a team with your support that will deliver that change.
The Tory defectors have often voted against May's Brexit plans, but their resignations are still seen as weakening the British Prime Minister's position in Parliament even further. May is trying to come up with a deal that will get the backing of a majority of the UK Parliament. In Brussels, she's expected to seek legally binding assurances on the so-called Irish backstop, which is aimed at preventing the return of a hard border between Northern Ireland in the UK and the Republic of Ireland, which is in the EU. But the EU has repeatedly said it's not open to making any concessions. Back in the UK, the British Prime Minister wants to get a new deal to lawmakers by February 27th.
We've listened to the House of Commons, we're working on the views of the House of Commons with the European Union, and we'll bring a vote back when it's the right time to do so.
With a little over a month until the UK leaves the European Union, time may not be on her side. Laila Humairah, TRT World.
Well, let's get more on this Brexit battle now with Iain Begg. He's a European Institute Professorial Research Fellow at the London School of Economics. Welcome back to the program, Iain. It seems like there's a bit of a plague on both of the UK's major political parties at the moment with all these resignations over Brexit. I'm wondering, how much of a setback are these latest resignations for Theresa May as she strives to get her deal over the line?
Well, good evening, Oscar. I think we can probably put this in the metaphor of the Richter scale of earthquakes. When the 7+1 Labour members of Parliament defected from the Labour Party, that was maybe 2 to 2.5 on the Richter scale. These 3 Conservative members are a bit more impressive. They maybe take it up to 3 to 3.5 on the Richter scale. But even so, it's not a seismic event of major proportions yet in British politics. However, we're all waiting to see what happens next. And if some of the very senior figures in either party are minded to go along with the rebels, then we might see quite a major change occurring in British politics. So far, it doesn't look as though that's going to happen.
Theresa May is currently in Brussels about to meet with European Commission President Jean-Claude Juncker. It's a bit like Groundhog Day, isn't it, where the scene just keeps on repeating itself and nothing seems to change at the end of it. What can we expect from this latest meeting, if anything different?
Well, the European side has been pretty explicit from the beginning of this. There is the withdrawal deal. It has provisions for the Northern Ireland backstop. That's not going to be reopened. So the room for manoeuvre is elsewhere. It's in the wording around it, some sort of soft words on the future relationship, something about saying, well, we don't really believe that the Irish backstop is going to be in force in perpetuity. That kind of thing might help to make a difference. But in practice, this is about much more than just the backstop. It's the fundamental future relationship between the UK and the EU that's at stake here. And as things stand, Britain still doesn't have a sufficiently clear vision of what it wants from that.
Now, some people are accusing Theresa May of essentially running down the clock in these ongoing negotiations, hoping that MPs at the very last minute will just blink and approve the deal, hoping to avoid a no-deal Brexit. Do you think that's a plan?
It's one interpretation of what she's doing. I think a different interpretation is she's just very stubborn and cannot see what's happening and doesn't accept that one side is saying this is the limit and the other side is saying that is the limit, and that her position in the middle is an untenable one. She needs to reach out across the political divide in Parliament, gain support from a large number of currently Labour members of Parliament to try to get something through, and they're not going to accept her basic withdrawal deal. They want a closer relationship with the EU. So she's going to have to change.
Now, there are a couple of scenarios that seemed unlikely before, such as a second referendum or even a snap election. I mean, some people are saying those are looking more likely now. Would you agree?
Well, a snap election is always likely in these very strange circumstances. What's less clear is that it would solve the problem, because it would bring back many of the same members of parliament. It would bring back many of the same divisions, even if there are different representatives. And it's not clear that that would ultimately change what Britain wants from the future relationship. As things stand, a second referendum seems a more distant prospect than it might have been when we spoke a couple of weeks ago. But you should never rule it out, because if nothing else works, the only thing you're left with in the end is going to be the second referendum. If it happens, I can promise you this, it will be deeply divisive in British politics and society, and it's not a prospect that anybody views with great optimism if it were to occur, but it may in the end be the only way left to get us out of this mess.
OK, we'll see if Theresa May manages to walk away with something from this latest Brussels meeting. Iain Begg in London, thank you as always.